So let's talk about writing struggles, and specifically the hardest part of writing. And for me personally, I know that is, am I doing this specific moment justice? That is really the crux of this video. So it basically is me trying to understand and trying to write out the moment at hand and seeing if I'm able to connect it back to the universal human condition. Am I properly tapping into that? Am I able to relate it, whatever I'm writing about? Am I able to relate it back to whatever the reader may be going through? Now, I don't know what the reader is going through, but I do know that we all share certain emotions, certain feelings. And that's what I'm talking about. Can I take this specific situation and make it so that anybody can also see themselves being in it? Now, let's take a specific situation as an example. Something that I specifically went through myself, for instance, is moving to my dream city of Chicago after years and years of hoping for it. Now, a lot of people have dreams, right? But maybe they don't dream of moving to their dream city. And if they do, maybe it's not Chicago. So how can I relate that back to anybody that's reading it? And basically, what we would have to do in that situation, and what I always find a little bit difficult, is to take the human aspect of it and speak on those things mostly, bring those things to the forefront. We would describe the anticipation, for that example. We would describe the looking forward to something because everybody's been there, right? Maybe it's not looking forward to moving to Chicago, but it's something that everybody has gone through, is looking forward to something happening in the future. So we would describe that, right? And then we would describe the payoff of realizing the dream. And everybody hopefully has gone through that as well. You know, when you have waited for something for so long and then it comes to fruition, you want to tap into that excitement and just relate the reader back to your own experiences. So this is all really to say that the hardest part of writing for me is when I sit back and I ask myself, am I making this moment relatable? And how can I make it more relatable if I'm not doing a good job? It basically comes down to knowing that my story isn't just my story. All stories intersect at certain points. That's through these universal emotions that we all feel. So I could describe the L trains in Chicago thundering past me and above my head, and all the commotion of the cars and taxis and all the people walking in these fluid movements. But what I really want is to talk about my excitement about realizing that dream. And through that, the reader then can see themselves in that situation with their own dream projected on those words. Because remember, like we said in a previous video, the more specific you are, the more universal you will come across. So I want to describe the L train specifically, the mechanical thundering of it on its tracks with the sparks flying off. While someone else may not care about that specific image, my excitement in describing it will come across, and they will see themselves with their own dream projected through those words. So that's really what I think is the hardest part of writing for me, is that I want to do this moment justice. I want to know that I'm covering all my bases. And while that is probably impossible to a point because you can't cover all bases of a moment, but you can cover your own viewpoint on it from your vantage point and how you see it. And that's what I want to cover. That's what I really want to tap into, is just this universal language of emotion that we all feel. Because if I'm writing and I don't tap into it, nobody is going to care about the words I am putting down on that page. They're not going to be able to see themselves through them. They're not going to be emotionally invested. And that's the worst thing that you can do to a reader, is waste their time. Don't waste the reader's time. You have their attention for that split second. Make sure you are giving them a payoff on it. And if you do properly, they'll come back again and again, time and time again. And that's the dream for a writer, right? Is to have that connection with the reader, whether you know them or not. You are connecting with them in that second through that human condition, and that you are utilizing as a tunnel almost for the reader to get to their own emotional conclusions on their own dreams, right? And that's just like one example. So, we could go into heartbreaking things. We could go into all sorts of different emotions, but I just wanted to keep this video on the lighter side. So that's the example I went with, but we could definitely go into deeper examples, and maybe we will in future videos. But for today, for now, that is really what I wanted to speak on, is the writer's struggles of capturing those moments to a T, because everybody will go through it at some point. Every writer will experience this sort of hurdle. And I just want to let anybody out there that's struggling with it know you are totally in good company. So with all of those things said, like this video if you felt something, comment with what you thought, and I will see you next Sunday at the midnight hour.